How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today we're going to be discussing War number 9 of Seasons. As you can see here, we do have a null boss. I will be on the left side of the minis today. I'll be taking that Sauron and that Kindred up top. But right now, like I said, our alliance kind of does it a little bit differently. We're probably going to be integrating into what everyone else does with the like doing what paths you can do, like from section 1 to section 2 being different. As of right now, we just do permanent paths. So once again, I'm on path 2. The fights are usually very similar, like between all the videos. It's probably going to be I believe the Domino and EMP again, and I believe I have Mojo in section 2 again. But we started off with a Wiccan fight. Not very hard, as long as you know to knock him down to change his dormant spell, and to have him do his SP1 to pause it. You never get like a little bit of incinerate damage, so you can actually end that fight on 100%. Next up is a Terax. He doesn't benefit from the node at all, but I've taken Titania with Terax plenty of times. Always end with like 100% health. With Haymaker, it doesn't even matter the increased damage, and he's so aggressive, so it doesn't really matter about the intercepts either. I like to just let it run out while you're willpower regenning, and then when the rock field expires, you rush in, and by the time he gets it again, you should hopefully have Haymaker again, and then it pretty much just repeats until I get an SP3 to end it. Now, this was probably one of the hardest wars I've had in a long time. I ended up screwing myself a little bit. I played horribly for one of the fights, and I was so upset with myself when it happened that like I was literally considering just not posting it, and that was the Atuma fight in section 2, but we will get to that later. And like I said, you just throw SP3 and pretty much the game ends. I'm kind of making sure that his health's a little bit lower than 50%. I'll probably be doing it after this Haymaker, and pretty much that ends it. I did boost kind of a little bit in section 1 because I knew I can't get it all done in one try. So there'll be a little bit of a pause, and then I'll be going to the next one with heavier boost to complete section 2 and Boss Island. And just like that, Terax is down. Next up is Man-Thing. In section 1, he's on the aggressive regen, just like the Rintrah was last war. The thing with Man-Thing that makes him a little bit more difficult, though, is the fact that just on activation of his supers, he gives you buffs. So on top of the placebo buffs and just dexing alone, him just throwing a special gives him power. So you'll see in a couple instances where there's a lot of times he's going to have a lot of power, and I'm just going to hope to God he throws an SP2 like there. I try to rush to an SP3 and keep it so that I do have like a built-in invulnerability boost. A lot of times with people on this node, you kind of need that with her because she doesn't have any form of power control, so you just hope you can just tank it and they're a little more cooperative. As you can see right here, it's going pretty well. I'm always watching the power, and I'm always trying to keep a stagger up to stop the regen from coming in, because once the regen comes in, you pretty much have to stop what you're doing and wait for it to go away. As you can see here, I'm just spamming heavies, slowly ticking them down. I'm trying to save Haymaker. Like right here, I was deciding whether he was going to throw the SP2 or not. And of course, still having to keep those heavies going with the Haymaker is always amazing. Hold on, let's see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The fight isn't really eventful. It's just very slow, and making sure that I don't even know if I popped an invulnerability boost for this. I might have popped a regen, but I don't even remember. And I actually had to take it with this fight because I wanted to bring Immortal Abomination for it, but I actually couldn't fit him because I needed Titania for my path and Gladiator Hulk for the Kindred. And then with that, I wanted to take the Sauron on Conflictor, so I had to bring Guardian. So I actually didn't have any room. So that was kind of a fight that I didn't want to take, just like the Atuma in section 2. They were both fights I really didn't want to take. And you see here, I kind of ran into a little bit of an issue. I do have a problem sometimes where, like, if you rush in, and then, like, it happens a lot in questing where when you go into it, you guys just stand there and then it counts as a KO. But I had to go back just to be safe. This is with, like, my bigger boost with the Mojo. I am not looking forward to that Atsuma fight. Just when it was assigned to me, I was a little annoyed about it because I've only taken Atsuma with Titania one time. It was on boss, and obviously it's a lot easier, but I was just nervous going into it, and when we get to that fight, you guys can see. But just right now, it's Mojo. There's nothing to it. It gives placebo buffs, and then when you knock him down, you gain a Fury. Both things that don't affect Titania, and also both things that don't affect Mojo. Like, if they put a Claire there, it would have been a little more difficult because the placebo buffs would give her power, and also me knocking her down would give her power. So, not really a good spot for him if you have a buff immune. And you see here, I just throw the SP3, and he pretty much dies with that. Yeah, I pretty much just did this. I wanted to bring a synergy for her to take the Atsuma, but like I said, I didn't have any space. I was annoyed about it. But you see right there, we get him down. Next up is the same fight. It seems like the defenses are all the same. An EMP Domino. You guys have seen this fight twice on my channel already, but I've taken this so many times. I actually didn't pop the regen boost this war because I just felt confident going into it that I didn't need it, and I didn't need it. Spoiler alert, we were fine. I did, with the Atsuma, I did have a scare that I thought maybe my season was going to end with another death because I'm trying to just end the season on one. And this fight just takes a lot of patience. You see if you're unlucky or if she's lucky. If you are unlucky, I like to try to just stay away from her, whether it's just continuing to dash back or not. You can't go into Haymaker or throw specials during unlucky because that just either removes all your debuffs or it removes all your Haymaker buffs. So I don't like to really waste time with that. You'll see, I think it happens once this fight where I throw the Haymaker for the SP3 and I only get like my indestructible and I only give her like 5 debuffs. So it's a lot to watch, and it's a fight that if you do it perfectly, you still end the fight on about 75% health. And if you screw up, you end up losing completely. Now you see here, I only got my indestructible. I waited till I wasn't unlucky, and it still ends up coming back to you sometimes. So you just kind of have to take your time with it, watch, see what you get and what you don't get. See, there was an evade. I wanted to spam light just to hit her, but I was afraid that I wasn't going to get it. And yeah, you just pretty much take your time with it. I don't even know if I would rush back to an SP3. I don't really use any other supers with this. I pretty much only go with the high damaging SP3. Depending on the fight, like the Wiccan fight where you have to constantly knock them down, it's better to keep going with the SP1 because you gain so many debuffs and you knock them down from it. But fights like this, you know, you just end the combos in lights, get as many debuffs as possible. I like to do my SP3 Haymaker after I get another Haymaker. But see here, I just was trying to end the fight. I think this kills her, which, yeah, leaves her at 1, and then the burst will kill her. And just like that, once again, an EMP Domino down again. Now this fight, I was super nervous. I ended up having to waste my last invulnerability boost for it, which thank God I was able to buy one. I don't even know if I ended up using it. But it was Atsuma in Section 2. There's nothing to him. It's Burden of Might, energy resistance, and I believe he goes unblockable after regen. So it's nothing that he benefits from, and it's also nothing that hurts her because she's buff immune and she doesn't do energy. And you see there, it already started pretty bad. I ran in for an intercept. He ended up hitting me from it and ended up using 2 of my charges of my indestructible. I was so glad I ended up using an indestructible for this because it was really hard. I usually know what I'm doing against him. Like, I use Atsuma a lot, and I don't know what was going on. You see here, I ended up hitting him, thinking that I can recover fast enough with the Unstoppable, but obviously that wasn't the case. I did parry here. I don't like to do that because I feel like it just makes his reverberation guaranteed. But I know that it's the only way you can actually hit him while he's closing the distance. And once again, I tried punishing him again after stunning him. I don't know what I was thinking here. And now I was backed into the corner and I got a little afraid. So I did throw the SP3 to gain some distance. Now here I am literally terrified because I ended up I ended up realizing I threw it while he was unstoppable, so there was no way to punish him. And he has 4 concussions, so it's guaranteed reverterbration. So I was just trying to calculate in my head if it was even possible to beat him. Trying to figure out different ways to beat him. I did see here, I didn't know if it was possible, but he did lose all of his concussions. So now we only have a 15% chance to gain the reverterbration. But even without concussions, he's so high up that the hydration puts him back in unstoppable. I think without any concussions, his SP1 gives him, I believe, 4 hydration. So even without any, we're having issues. I'm trying to do like mathematically, like, am I going to even be able to beat him in time? Because I know that he has a lot more health than me with reverterbration. I feel like I was going to die. So here I'm just kind of biding my time a little bit to see when the unstoppable runs out. I did not make the same mistake again, punishing him, so I was happy with that. And with this, I just ended up going for it because I knew I was going to die anyway. I entered the combo a little bit early to hopefully bait a heavy, which gave me just enough power to do the SP3, which ended up winning it for me. I was so nervous, guys. You have no idea. If he would have thrown that SP2 into my block, I would have died because I don't know how to properly dex it. So I'm just very fortunate that it worked out that way. And with this, this is probably the easiest fight that I had, besides the Titania fights, of course. This was just a Sauron on Conflictor, but I did have a white mag pre-fight on it. Didn't even use any of the special gray boosts because I knew that it would just be... Even if it would be a slow fight, I knew it was guaranteed. Like, there was nothing really to it. He doesn't really do any debuffs besides a shock, which I believe is on his SP2, or maybe his SP3. But either way, you see here, I do take precaution with it. I make sure he has no meter with the SP3, and I make sure he has no meter with the SP2 just to finish it. Because I'm not too familiar on Guardian. I did rank him up because he was pretty much the only armor burn champ I had this season. But as you can see here, you know, you just take your time with it. I don't want any part of the SP2 because I know depending on the distance, a lot of times you get hit with the SP2 and that would pretty much end me with a really bad crit. So I pretty much just take my time with it, constantly baiting SP1s. I can parry freely, but I don't know what it is. Like, mentally, I guess because I was coming right out of the Atuma fight. I was just so scared to even get touched. So I pretty much am intercepting all game until, like, he gets to about, like 50% health. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can actually stun this guy. I don't really know what I was thinking. So you see here, I'm getting close to the back of the wall. I'm just trying to get that SP1 out. I keep hitting into his block to increase the distance because I don't want to be in the corner. Because you actually... I don't even know if you can dex his heavy. I know he has a weird 3-hit heavy. So you see here, trying to get rid of that SP1. And hopefully, after he throws it, I'll throw the SP3. You see here, he threw it. I believe that if I throw the SP3, I was going right to the SP2 to finish the game. Not trying to rush anything, make any stupid mistakes. Just trying to, of course, like I always say, just take my time with it. 5 minutes is a long time. You know, especially when you know that the game is easily winnable. You know, I have the perfect counter for it. There's nothing really stressful about this. He's not building anything that I have to watch. It's really just baiting SP1s. I do end up getting hit with the SP1 at one point, but I think that's just nerves. I did get a little nervous there. But yeah, I pretty much just take my time with it, not rushing to the SP2, going at it at my own pace. He's not gaining any prowesses. There is no power gain. There's just a basic fight, parry, 5-hit combo, but for some reason I just now start parrying. Don't know what the problem is. Don't know what I was thinking, but either way, it's guaranteed. I do want to get his health down a little bit more before I throw that SP2 because I do want it to kill, and I was not entirely sure if it gave a shock. I didn't end up finding out. But I do believe that the SP2 gives a shock, so I wanted to make sure that Conflictor didn't put him at 2 bars. Now, with this fight, as soon as Kindred was on the board, of course, I was the person to take it with Gladiator Hulk. It's one of my favorite fights now. No one really in my battle group wants to take it too much because they know that I can do it. The only thing I was nervous about was the fact that he was on Aspect of Evolution, which does give him increased power every time. I'm not sure if it gives him increased power gain every time he fills a bar of power or every time he uses a bar of power. But you see here, I did bait the heavies because I know that it does take a little bit of his power away. So I was trying to just make him not gain as much power as possible. And with the SP1, you'll see here a lot of times I'll be blocking it because I know with the increase later in the game, with the increased power gain from Aspect of Evolution and Mystic Dispersion from dexing the SP1, I knew that eventually it would just be out of control. The Mystic Dispersion, if it was 5 out of 5, would give him almost the bar, and then hitting him with increased Aspect of Evolution would end up giving him just a bar on one hit. So I would end up just be baiting the SP1, hit him, and then have to bait another SP1. So I do block it a lot, and I was telling the people in my alliance about it. I was really nervous about that, the Aspect of Evolution, if it was going to come in later. And as you can see, towards the end of the fight, it does end up like making an appearance. It is very tough to deal with at times. There is times, I know he gains a power gain. I'm not sure when it comes out, but I think it happens twice during the game. And as you can see, this, like the second time it comes, it gives him basically like 2 bars. As you can see there, it's getting crazy, because I think on top of Aspect of Evolution, the mini itself has like 50% or 100% increased power gain effects. So as you can see here, I do block it because Mystic Dispersion is also a problem that I can't forget about, because that is what kills a lot of people against Mystics. Right here, I'm trying to calculate what I should do, whether it's hold an SP2, an SP1, or maybe an SP3. I do go to the SP2 because it has an Ineverate, which stops power gain when you hit them. And I think that's something that I need. I was trying to time it during Nightmare Outbreak so that I would be doing insane damage on top of Kindred not gaining any power from it. But obviously it didn't work out that way. He is very SP2 happy, so I was happy about that. I do know with the SP3, though, I do have an Indestructible, so I wasn't too worried about it. I did end up using my last Indestructible. But as you can see here, now it's getting to the time where he's rooted, so I'm just kind of saving my supers, trying to figure out what I want to do. I do end up doing the SP3, which, as you guys can find out, it doesn't end up going too well. But I'm trying to like calculate how much I need. I do want to bait that SP1 before I get rid of, get him rooted, because I don't want him to just throw the super. And as you can see, this is the reason why I actually end up winning it. So I hit him, and then I throw the SP3. I was thinking about just baiting heavies and just dexing them, but I didn't want to do that anymore. And I found out, which I didn't know, that the SP3 is not what you want to throw while he's rooted, because it doesn't kill him. It just gets rid of the rooted. It was such a joke. And the upsetting part to it, which I guess isn't that bad, we did end up losing that war. I checked it now. I think that we're all done. I think we lost like 15-4, so it is upsetting. We are a smaller alliance, so just us getting to Masters is obviously a good thing, but obviously I'm not happy with that. I want more, and so do a lot of the people in my alliance. But sadly, a lot of other people in the alliance don't want that. But I'm happy that we got this far. I just wish we could get farther, type of thing. But even after that whole crazy war, we did end up losing, which sucks, but the next war starts in like a few hours, and I want to make sure that we get it. Hopefully, we stay in Masters by the end of the season. I'm really hoping for those rewards, and also just to end on seasons and end on Masters in 1 seasons would be amazing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.